The truth will set you free. Katotohanan at kalayaan. Ang katotohanan na tinutukoy ng ating Panginoong Kristo dito sa ating Ebanghelyo ay hindi yung katotohanan na hinahanap ng isang hurado sa korte na dapat ang saksi ay magsasabi ng totoo. Ang kalayaan na tinutukoy ng ating Panginoong Kristo sa ating Ebanghelyo ay hindi yung kalayaan ng isang bilanggo, physical freedom. Upang lalo nating maintindihan ang ating Ebanghelyo, I propose that we reflect on the letters of St. Paul, especially St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 17, when St. Paul said, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." And in Galatians 5:22, St. Paul says, "Love as the primary fruit of the Spirit." Paano tayo magiging malaya at paano tayo magkakaroon ng katotohanan? Jesus identified himself as the truth when he said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me." Ang katotohanan na tinutukoy ng ating Panginoon Kristo ay ang kanyang buhay na pag sinundan po natin, na pag ginawa nating ehemplo ang buhay ng Panginoon Kristo at isinabuhay natin, tayo po'y nasa katotohanan. Tayo'y magiging malaya. The scribes and the Pharisees in the gospel did not recognize Jesus as the Messiah, the one who came from above. They were focusing on the Old Testament, the law and the prophets. Kaya nga sinasabi ni San Pablo, sila po ay naging alipin ng lumang tipan. The scribes and the Pharisees were scholars of the law, and so out of the 10 commandments, they expanded them into so many laws, 613 of them, sapagkat ang turing nila sa Diyos ay isang makapangyarihan, authority figure, that everyone has to obey Him, that everybody has to be submissive to His laws. So everything that they do should be according to the law. And so people were so hard up obeying so many laws, 613 of them. And Jesus saw this and He said, "Come to me, all you are heavily laden with so many laws, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And learn from me, for I am gentle and humble of heart." And so out of these so many laws, Jesus summarized them into important laws, and that is love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. And secondly, love your neighbor as yourself. That is the spirit of the law. That's why St. Paul said, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." The scribes and the Pharisees were slaves to the law, whereas Jesus is offering them the spirit of the law, and that the spirit of the law is compassion. Love as the primary fruit of the Spirit. And so later on in the Gospel of St. John, when before Jesus went up to heaven, He said to His apostles, "I no longer call you slaves, but friends, because a slave does not know what his master is doing. I have revealed to you everything that the Father has entrusted to me. A new commandment I am giving you, love one another as I have loved you. If you keep my commandment, I and the Father will come and abide in you." And so, my dear brothers and sisters, to be free from the point of view of Jesus is to follow God's will, to follow God's purpose in our lives. Like Jesus, He said, "My food is to do the will of Him who sent me." Today, let us pray that we may be open to the Spirit. In the letter of St. Paul to the Ephesians, he said, "I pray that your eyes may be open, so that you may recognize, that the eyes of your heart may be open, so that you may recognize what is so important and essential in your vocation." Ano ba ang pinakamahalaga sa ating tungkuling bilang binyagan? Paano po natin nakikita ito? Sabi ni San Pablo, "I pray that the eyes of your heart may be opened." Is the heart equipped with sight? Nakakita ba ang puso? Yes, it is love. It is with the eyes of love. Minsan po ako'y pumunta sa isang drugstore bumili ng gamot, pero napakaraming tao, kaya sabi ng clerk o tindera, "Umupo po muna kayo dyan, maghintay." At umupo po kami. Tapos merong dumating na mag-asawa. Inaakay ng mister ang kanyang misis na parang merong mga skin disease, parang may galis. At umupo rin siya doon sa bench. Sabi ng mister, "Dito ka na at ako nang bahalang bibili ng iyong gamot." Kami po ay natakot. Umalis kami sapagkat baka mahawa kami sa skin disease. Pero it dawned on me, bakit kaya yung mister hindi nandidiri sa kanyang misis? Inaalagahan niya, tinutulungan niya. Because for us, we were looking at the skin disease. That's why we scampered, ran away. But the husband was looking to his wife with the eyes of love. That is what St. Paul is telling us. The eye of the heart is compassion. And that's why Helen Keller once said, "What is essential is invisible to the eye. It is only with the heart that one sees clearly." And so, if we have the eye of love, we will recognize Jesus, because He said, "Whatever you do to the least of these brethren of mine, you did it to me," to our needy neighbors. So that's why there are three important things that we do during this Lenten season. First, prayer. Secondly, fasting. And last, almsgiving. They complete and complement each other. One will not be complete without the other. Prayer is a relationship to God. We say yes to God. But we cannot say yes to God if we do not do almsgiving, if we do not say yes to our neighbor. If we say no to our neighbor, then our prayer would not be sincere. Fasting, because we do not make ourselves the center of the universe. There is a life beyond this life. And so, we do fasting and abstinence to prove and to show that we do not become the center of the universe. Hindi po natin pinapamper ang ating mga sarili, ang luho ng katawan. Because if we are too focused on pleasing ourselves, then we cannot recognize Jesus in our neighbor through almsgiving. Prayer, we say yes to God. Fasting, we say no to ourselves. Almsgiving, we say yes to our neighbor. Then we can recognize Jesus who is in our midst.